Hi, welcome back to the Severed Floor. We are going to review episode 7 called Chakai Bardo. Let's get into it. It starts off the episode with Gemma and Mark and their first meeting in the college he's teaching at. I did notice it seems like he has an IV in his arm, and I don't know if that is supposed to be or if that was just some kind of weird Easter egg. I know that his reintegration is happening though, so maybe there is a crossover there. Then we head over to Gemma at Lumen getting her blood taken and zoning out with flashbacks. Mark is still passed out and out of it from the last episode, and his sister Devin is not wanting him to reintegrate, but at this point it's kind of already happening. Gemma is doing a health check and what seems to be a lie detector test with a nurse lady, and she is asked which she would be more afraid of in a mudslide, suffocating, or drowning, and she says drowning, which is interesting because they're kind of the same thing. Then she asks how many rooms today and is told it's going to be 6. She dresses in a blood red dress and passes rooms for Allentown, Cairns, Drainsville, Sienna, Loveland, and ends up at the Wellington room. They scan the nurse into the room with like a handprint scanner, but then it takes a blood drop. As soon as she enters the room, she goes to be severed and then is in a dentist's office with the dentist we saw in the one of the previous episodes. I believe it was Trojan's Horse, where he is getting dental tools at the beginning of the episode. When she comes out, she was told that she was in the room for 2 hours. And then finally, as she's going down the hall, she passes a room that says Cold Harbor. So I want to know what that's about. We go more back to flashbacks of Mark and Gemma dating, flirting, and getting married. Gemma's having a dinner with Mark, Devin, and Rickon, and she hints to Devin that she's pregnant, and then we see that they have a miscarriage, then a flashback to Miss Casey on the severed floor, followed by a room of people with Mr. Drummond asking, are the severance barriers holding? So there's a room watching the severed, or watching the macro data refinement floor from their own terminals. Seems like after the miscarriage, Mark and Gemma are trying to do some kind of fertility thing. Gemma's being interviewed by the dentist, not severed, as she's being x-rayed through the head and watched by the floor of people on the severance barrier floor, I guess. She's talking about the rooms with him and says the only room that she hasn't visited yet is Cold Harbor. The dentist guy says to her that she will see the world again and the world will see her once she has visited all of the rooms, which of course is more Lumen cryptic phrasing. Devin ends up wanting to call Miss Cobell regarding Mark and him kind of having medical issues from the reintegration. Azal says that she can't be a part of that if Miss Cobell is involved because she was raised by Lumen and she will absolutely turn them in. So she ends up leaving and says it's up to Devin to decide whether or not she wants to continue this. Gemma's with Mark looking at Chakai Bardo cards, flashcards, which is where we get our episode title. And then they're fighting, having some marital issues, and talking about stopping trying to get pregnant. We cut back to Gemma at Lumen on a severed room, and looks like she's in a plane crash with the dentist guy playing a flight attendant. And I think this is kind of an Easter egg to Lost or a nod to that TV show, if I had to guess. It's then followed by her in a 1950s style house at Christmas time, writing thank you cards for the presents they received. It's always Christmas in that room in particular, so she's like severed into a permanent Christmas room. The more and more I see the dentist guy with his beard, he's looking like he's trying to have a Kier look about him. We cut back to Mark with flashbacks, and it looks like he's tearing apart the crib they previously bought, possibly drinking. Just more problems and conflict between the two of them. Just as a side note, the Christmas room is called Allentown. Not sure if that means anything. The dentist is named Dr. Maurer, and he tells Gemma that Mark has already remarried and has a daughter when she talks about trying to go back to him and leaving Lumen once she's completed with all the rooms. She ends up knocking him out and heading up the elevator where she is severed into Miss Casey. She goes down the hallway, and then Milchek is at the end of the hallway and turns her back around to head back down the elevator. We then go to the flashback of Mark working and Gemma going to a party. She never comes back from the party, and he's told by the cops that she died. Mark finally wakes up from all of these flashbacks. His sister is there, and the episode ends. Thank you again for joining me on this recap / spoilers of the episode. Until next time.